Hi there, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. Today, it's going to be a brief video on Dylan Rounds, just looking back at the comments from last night to catch up with them, answer any questions, check for any additional key interesting information, and if it does yield anything, then we can go from there. If not, it's just going to be a short video today, or should I say tonight. Those that are present, feel free to talk, share your thoughts, opinions, reactions, and other stuff in the live chat box, and feel free to leave comments down below. If you want to check out the previous videos and other links and stuff, there'll be some links down below in the pinned comment section. And yeah, I think we just get straight into it. Look at the comments from last night on the Dylan Rounds case. Here we are. I'm going to adjust it to newest. Top and bottom. I've got a couple to get through, but no harm. Tom's comment saying, this was definitely a good idea. There are so many questions about this. I hope you come up with the answers. So that was in relation to last night about that mystery dead person being found in the desert area, which supposedly turned out further away than expected. And people said it was closer to Wendover, Toolule, Toole, however you say that. By the way, I'm not an American, so I'm not going to know all the dodgy pronunciations and slang, etc. So, take that into consideration. But that aside, I was just randomly looking at on Facebook today, just glancing past with the Christine Passay Parker case, just seeing if there's any updates there. There isn't any. But they were sharing other missing people cases, and one of them, which was resolved in a very short space of time, was near Toul. So I don't know if it's a hot spot for missing people or not, but worth taking into consideration. Okay, person goes missing, such as Dylan Rounds, but then you got a question, anybody else present within the area that could have gone missing at some point? Was it ever resolved or not? And the more reported cases of missing people within an area or so, the more suspicious it becomes, right? Always worth taking into consideration. I know people say that there are missing Montello people. You know what? I don't really know any personally, but if you know any links, news articles, or maybe on Facebook, if there's any little dodgy Facebook pages or communities or Facebook posts regarding missing people, feel free to leave a comment down below. And providing there's a starting area, such as when a person was last seen in Montello, surrounding area, if there's a named location, I'll take a look at it, okay? And the reason why I'd take a look at it is because, one, it's near to the Dylan Rounds case, so I'm familiar with the area more so than elsewhere. Two, the terrain and environment, I'm used to that, so I can visualize it better and maybe map things out, etc. Maybe it will help spread awareness of other missing people within the area or so. Just see how things go. If you think it's a good idea and you got some little bits of info or tips, list it down below and maybe I can try and take a look at it sometime, okay? We got Mel here popping in once again, not seen her for a while, saying, when was the person found? Just recently? No, it wasn't. I don't think I recall this. Okay. It may have been because it was only written on screen. They didn't mention it out loud. First week on June. Correct, Tom. I don't know what unapologetically authentic is talking about there. Take in mind, and I've extensively explained it with time, that when it comes to the titles of one's videos, you're limited to 100 characters, so you can only fit so much into the title. So it can be difficult at times. And as I said, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in this one as well, but at least in the previous video, because this was a follow-up one from the day before, I said body found, in brackets, not Dylan. I had to make that clear, right? But yeah, to answer the original question, it was when Heavy D and his crew went out there, supposedly June 2nd, 2022. It's either between June 2nd or June the 5th, in between there or so. And then the video was uploaded June 8th or June 9th, 2022. And whilst we're out there and flying over the area, I don't know why, but it might be the way they came from, or depends if they were on the way or coming back, near to Wendover, Toul, or near to that area, supposedly, the way it's been described last night. That's when they found the body. Doesn't mean to say that the person was killed on the same day of June 2nd, 2022. It could have happened a few days before, or maybe a bit longer, but not too long. All comes down to the condition of the body. If it's skeletal remains, then yeah, it's probably much older than you think, but if they're still intact and they've not been scavenged too much by animals, then more recent. And it's described as the person was shot, and a couple more people were saying suicide. That's where it was. Does it make it less suspicious? Arguably, yeah. In terms of the true location now, well, yeah, arguably less suspicious. Maybe it doesn't always apply, but at least in my mindset, the further away it is from another crime scene, maybe the less likely it links. Not saying it doesn't link at all, but it's just less likely. Cutting that off. Indiana, is this a poem or something? Dylan Rounds, his hands created till the land, parents, family who understand. Dylan firstborn, his life invested, ready to do what was untested. Limits don't exist, not in his eyes, young man in old boots just flies. Wings unclipped, he can only rise, less mortal men would despise. With Dylan's dreams now broken, parents which remain outspoken. Fighting against Dylan's injustice, those Ellie leaving them disgusted. Will Brenner's trial to expose, bring Dylan's sad story to a close, or just leave all with more doubt, those who knew it all knew now? Okay. It's still warm here. I thought after having a wash, after earlier, it would cool me down, but now, terrible weather here, terrible country, terrible UK, terrible people. Anyway, so I'm here. This is your best one yet. Okay, what's this about Zav Girl? Cheers, I appreciate that. I watched all of Zav Girl's videos, on the case, and there was one thing I got wrong. That Dylan pressure washed his truck back on his farm, then took the truck down to Montello to show Kurt. I remember it being worded like that in the past. So I'm saying, to show Kurt and Taylina told me personally that she saw Dylan Friday morning between 9 and 10 a.m. She said that the truck had been washed. I've always believed her. Brilliant. I suppose it was total shock to Dylan's mother to see Dylan's truck cleaned. No wonder she thought someone else had done it. Okay. I thought from ages ago listening to Kurt that Dylan had pressure washed his truck outside the Saddle Saw bar on Friday morning. I can't tell you how many times I've told folks that. Right. So what, Kurt says one thing, Taylina says the other. Great. Responding to John William. I was raised in a Mormon environment and I live on now. I understand why they might move him away, but as far as his disappearance, I don't think it had any reflection on the case. I feel that the grandfather cared about Dylan, but he may have been getting some heat from the church goers. Now that is just a guess. Okay. I mean, the religious aspect has creeped in here and there. Maybe it was talked about more in the early days. But, if anyone wanted a very, 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 very short rundown on why does it matter about the religious aspect, or why does it matter about if Dylan's gay or not, it's just that possibility which hasn't been proven, nor is there much evidence to support it in terms of the actual true outcome. But the possibilities in people's mindsets is you got certain religion, they may not approve of a certain type of relationship. If Dylan just happens to be in one of that, whether it be the family or the environment, the locals, whatever, might shun him or might show more direct physical action, such as taking the person out. Is that very likely? Probably not, but that's just what people were thinking with time, right? They might have applied it to other cases out there elsewhere. And then I just assumed that it occurs with Dylan Rounds. There you go. We got this person here. I keep forgetting the actual name. Tiana. Shout out to Tiana Gonzalez. Hopefully I said that correctly. Says, loves your channel. You've been just about the only one that I know that has been on the Dylan Rounds case from the beginning. Don't give up. Appreciate that. In terms of when I came into covering the case, I actually came in 1 month late. leaving from the Kenny Reach case onto her, and then I just spent all the time looking into it and slowly catching up on the beginning information, which I didn't look at straight away. Would I have done anything differently? Maybe the only thing I would have done differently would have been to fully watch the Heavy D video, the very first one on the Dylan Rounds case. I didn't look at it complete at the start, and I think that would have helped in some way or another, because the way I started with the case was more outside of the box, which in this case it did work out. We got Cleo there, you're welcome. Hopefully you like the new emoji. I don't know, black and white. And we've got June here. Where has Arizona Traveler been? He has a very interesting video 1 year ago called Buried on His Own Property. A main line or pivot line was dug. There is equipment around which Brenner could have used. If anyone is interested, go watch. It's very interesting. Leanne saying Scott Natal found 3 graves, a mass short and a girl's dress. Went to the police, never heard from it. When was this? I heard Justin Rounds dug the main line up, but the video made interesting reading. Right. Yeah, so as for the main line, Indiana, I guess it was mentioned in the early days or so during the interviews that they, looked at the main line, they checked, didn't find anything. Fast forward to 2023, probably a couple of months ago now, and I believe it was the last and latest East Idaho News proper interview, not the one from court. You remember that court one? Before that, the true interview where they were sat down, the 2-on-1 with Justin and Candice Cooley inside the studio with Nate Eaton. The last and latest one of that's where they were talking, Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds, but they said that they double-checked the pond area, they double-checked the grain shed, they double-checked Dylan's farm, and then Justin Rounds also said even dug up the main line a second time round, crossed it, ticked it off the list, found nothing there. So just like with the pond, it's been checked multiple times and it has been fully searched from what they say. And that's coming from Justin Rounds' mouth as well. So hopefully that helps. Now, as for Arizona Traveler, well, he's played a part in, Boots on Ground earlier on. I don't know where Arizona Traveler has been all this time. But I'll tell you one thing, June. At least the times Arizona Traveler has been on my channel, he spent more time talking about my hair and less about the case itself. So that says a lot about the individual, doesn't it? Basically, the Arizona Traveler decided to follow the salty pancakes trend of saying someone's got a wig. That's basically what he did. And I guess the most ironic thing out of it all was Arizona Traveler, from what I can remember, virtually bald. So probably just jealous. Anyway, moving on. June says, has anyone else heard Brenner is showing signs of dementia? If the family wants to find Dylan, they need to give Brenner a deal. Just bring Dylan home because it's heartbreaking. And thank you for the info about the chop shop. Feeling Brenner knew the owner well, it seems possible he could have took Dylan there. I wonder why they moved the place. Right, so you did see the chop shop bit, so I'll just record that so you can tell why I deleted the comment. It's all done raw. There we go. So you did acknowledge. You edited your comment. Okay. I guess maybe the comment was edited after I left my response. That's fine. Okay. So it looks like we're on the same line regarding that chop shop. Okay. Do we need to do a video on it? Do you know what? Why not? Not going to do it today. No. I think it should be its own separate video. Might be short, but more focused once again. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So shout out to June for the info she's heard of and passed on to her, which is helpful in some way or another. I guess it highlights once again the chop shop talk. Whilst it's faded away with time, we can always refer back to it with this additional information or supposed information, okay? But June, if you're watching this, June, feel free to re-explain the chop shop situation. That will be appreciated. Whether it be any key bullet points or additional information regarding the day, the 28th, just feel free to do it down below. And then it makes it easier to refer to in a video and add on from that, okay? We've got Glenn as well, consistent. What's this one? User 87 profile picture of a docs. What does this person say? The kid who runs this channel is a loser, a complete loser. He thinks he solves cases. Walking joke, more like it. Probably never touched grass. Now, the line probably never touched grass. I've heard it a lot on TikTok, so I don't know if this person comes from TikTok or not, but what does it mean? I guess, well, it's normally been used when people play too much video games, and it's like used as an insult or attempted insult to suggest that the person doesn't get out much, spends most of the time inside. That's what the line means there. Let's just check the responses. Indiana, maybe if you kept off the grass, you would see Warlike Wrath isn't here to solve the case, but gives us all useful information on the case that others may have not explored yet. If you actually watch the video, you know he isn't trying to solve the case. He's letting us know what's going on. Strange, isn't it? But haven't we been here before with this comment? Probably. This goes out to user 87. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. It shows that you have very low class. Grow up and do something productive with yourself. And Christie's comment there. In the past, when I used to read probably never touched grass, I thought that was to do with not touching drugs. I thought it was a drug reference, but I found out what it actually meant. So if we just click on this profile, this person has commented in the past. In the past, they said, I was hoping Warlike Wrath really got slapped by Jim Terry. This kid is weird AF. You're just a weird little beep. You're just a weird little beep. So this person seems most definitely a Jim Terry supporter. So maybe already we can tell that the IQ department isn't quite there. The lights may be on, but no one's home. One of those. Now, as for the videos, it's of them stroking cats. And not females, just cats. Okay. They've got some additional videos of docking or, loading up cargo and stuff onto boats, big boats. Oh, I'm sorry, am I not using the correct terminology? Oh, well, you can tell me off like a naughty kid down below. I think the one thing that's most interesting is how this channel associates me as a kid when, you think of the definition of a kid, that's of a certain age range. I'm not a kid, nor am I a teen, okay? So you could argue and say that this user, by referring to someone as a kid, is there something else going on in there? Are they a bit of a dodgy individual or something? Are they fantasizing about a certain age range? I feel sorry for those cats. Anyway, we move on. Do we have any other comments above? Jacqueline, have been to Tyler Feller's tonight. Don't know why I did an Irish dab. Video title, timeline in his playlist. Someone said the person was from Wendover. They thought the water rights video was interesting too. Okay. In Indiana. Ooh, Indiana being naughty with a long comment, but that's perfectly fine. It's like dealing with the impossible. Dylan's truck is locked up. His trailer is locked up. He had, after all, just encountered Chase only a few days earlier. Dylan then is supposed to be on his way to the grain shed to put away the sea truck from the rain on the 28th. 7:27 a.m. His life is supposed to be over. It's then presumed Brenner made his way over to Dylan's farm to break into his trailer, looking, I'd assume, for any money in there. So where in the story does it come in that it was Brenner who was the one that drove the C truck down to the grain shed? That could only happen if Dylan was not at his farm in the first place, so where was he? As you don't walk all the way to the grain shed at that time in the morning without your C truck to put it inside of it. Well said. So I can't see no logic in the fact yet. Yeah. So why are the likes of Kurt and Corey saying otherwise? Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I've mentioned previously. Indiana summarized it pretty good here, right? Even if somehow it was true what Corey was saying and others, then where was Dylan at the time? And I think Corey's response or so was, well, Dylan Rounds never made it to the grain shed because he was taken out before he could get there by Chase Venstra. Right. So you're saying that Chase Venstra infiltrated Dylan's farm before 6:30 in the morning? Is that what you're saying? Because it was 6:51 a.m. Dylan made the call to Karen Rounds, even though Bob Farrell strongly disagrees with that and says it's all a lie. And I think Corey says the same thing too, that no call was made to Karen Rounds. It was just a text message or so. Well, if I can remember correctly, I'm sure that in the actual Dylan Rounds official documentary, the grandparents, Karen Rounds, said about the call and not hearing his voice afterwards, not calling back. I believe that's what was said in the documentary, okay, about the call. And then the other family members sharing their point of view of their final call with Dylan before they never heard back from him ever again. So for someone like Corey and even Bob Farrell and some people in the background to say that Dylan Rounds never called Karen Rounds, his grandmother, and yet the grandmother acknowledges that the call did happen, then it seems like someone is disrespecting and possibly sabotaging the case. Does anyone else agree with that? I mean, all I've ever known it was a call was made, and then over time people slowly crept in and said, no call was made, text message only. And Dylan never replied, called back, made a call after. And yet Karen Rounds said Dylan did call. Candice Cooley said Dylan did call. I mean, the person on the end of the phone, on the receiving end of that call, who reports and acknowledges that Dylan called them, then likely it happened, right? So I don't know why other people are going against that. I don't know if it's one of those problematic situations again of stalling things, maybe. Is that it there, though? Okay, that seems to be it with the comments section. Now, I'm just thinking, do we go on to the maps or anything? Maybe not quite yet. Right, I'll just briefly explain it, okay? So the only other idea I had, which I was going to eventually do, but I just don't know on the timing of it. So you remember Battle Mountain, Nevada? I never heard of it prior, but when looking into the Christine Passe Parker case and looking about and looking at the motels just for the research purposes to see which ones she stopped at, etc., when on the street level we came across the Owl Hotel, which was kind of ironic with, separate references to people out there, as we know. And I think there was a giant potato as well, so that was kind of an ironic reference there. So after that, I thought, that would be a good place to look at in a light-hearted way, but because of covering the ongoing, because it's still ongoing, Christine Passe Parker case, and with that being like a hotspot, or at least a well-known place where she was at the beginning on the day, and then wherever she ended up later, I can imagine if I did a separate standalone video, or maybe I tied it in with something else, other stuff, and I referred to that area and I was looking at the motels there, I don't know if there'll be people in the background that will pick up on it and think, oh, why are you looking at this area where Christine Passé Parker was? Are you taking the mickey? Are you mocking the case? You know what I'm saying? When it came to the Dylan Rounds case, it was the first time I ever did, you know, those side videos, looking at KFC, looking at Burger King, looking at motels, reviewing dodgy places, looking at just random stuff, street level on Google Earth. And I know people, some out there who see it for the first time, wonder, how's that got anything to do with Dylan? Well, at first it kind of did, because when we're looking at the Dylan Rounds case, when we're looking at Brenner and we're trying to look at the custom farming and where they ended up, where did they stop at? Was it a motel, a hotel? Which one was it? When we looked at Chase Venstra, his whereabouts and alibis, was he stopping at any motels or any point in time? And on the day of the 28th, which Little Caesar Pizza was he seen at? Which KFC was he seen at in Clinton, Ogden, Utah, right? Those cities. So, I don't know, it was just a flow. Just casually looking at those locations, trying to look at photos of the place to see if anyone watching would pick up on it and say, yeah, that was the one Chase Venstra was seen at, right? To look for CCTV cameras to see what angle and where they're positioned at. Just like what I did with Kenny Veach and the 2018 break-in of the healing store in Las Vegas, Nevada, run by the Veach family member, the sister Debbie Veach. Long story there, but I was looking at the perimeter of the shop, the inside of the store, the cameras, the angles of the windows, the entry point, the exit point. It was really interesting and in-depth, and it was kind of fun to do as well, whilst trying to be serious, of course. So then I guess that was maybe the influence and how I was able to apply it to the Dylan Rounds case appropriately by looking at key areas where these known suspects or one suspects were once at. It was trying to look at ground view and visualize it. And then it naturally transitioned on over to then looking at these places because of the images that were uploaded. And then that's when the transition occurred and more people found it more funny and in a positive way, lighthearted. And it never really received any resistance either. Some people came in confused, but I just explained what was going on. I said, if you want to learn about the case, rewind back to the start. So that's what I did. But obviously, each case is different and the people within it react differently, right? With the Dylan Rounds case, like the family, the direct people, the family didn't reach out onto my video to say, hey, why are you looking at these locations? That's disrespectful. That's got nothing to do with the case. And, you know, they would have misunderstood it, of course. But the reason why they didn't is because they don't look at my videos. So I guess that eliminates one issue there, right? Because if they did watch, it would lead to a misunderstanding, just being honest. With the Christine Passé Parker case, the reason why this level of hesitancy is displayed is because some of the family members have watched my videos on the case or of the area. They've watched my map analysis of Battle Mountain, Nevada, or the friends of the family have watched, and the odd video has been shared on the page, on the Facebook page. One of the videos got about 2,000 views, so that means 2,000 people were informed about the case, let's say, which is a positive. But if there's more eyes or certain eyes locked onto this channel, and an idea where a light-hearted video in the area where a missing person was once at, is that going to lead to misunderstanding, conflict, tension, and it all goes downhill from there? I want to know your thoughts down below. I mean, if Christine was found, let's say tomorrow or the day after, then it probably would be easier to look at Battle Mountain, Nevada, right, and just look at it. If I never knew about the case to begin with, nor did I ever cover it, and I looked at the area on the maps, then it wouldn't have, I don't know, it just wouldn't have highlighted anything. There'd be no link to make. But because I've already covered the case and I'm aware of that area, if I then try covering it in a light-hearted way, then they're going to think, what, am I disrespecting the case or something? I don't know. I don't know how people will react to it. That's why I'm kind of holding off for now. I mean, obviously there's other areas to look at, but when you go on the maps, right, I don't always like visually remember every location I've looked at. It's impossible to do so, right? So I just end up locking my eyes onto the next spot I'm maybe familiar with or have glanced upon if I have been looking at the case, and then branching off from there. But in this situation, I don't know if it's worth doing or not. Anyway, aside from that, I said it was just a short video disc with Dylan Brown's case, just acknowledging the comments and clearing anything up. It looks like because of doing this video tonight, it means I'm able to do another video maybe tomorrow or the day after regarding the chop shop, regarding what June said. I said, if June is present watching, you want to leave any additional comments of information down below regarding the events on the 28th with the chop shop, feel free to ask, list it down below or just re-add, whatever, okay? So hopefully you found the video okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. But for now, goodbye and good night.